Good evening, North Florida. This is Dr. Ryan Truchelut of WeatherTiger, and tonight I'm coming to you with a special live update on Tropical Storm Mindy, which is currently moving northeast and inland across the Big Bend. It's obviously not the strongest storm that we've had to deal with in North Florida hurricane history, but nevertheless it's packing a little bit of a punch tonight, so I will be walking you through the wind and rain impacts and what's going on and what we can expect over the next 12 hours as Mindy moves on through. I'm going to allow about a minute for the audience to filter in, and then I will dig into the very latest on Tropical Storm Mindy. Okay, great. Well, I'm going to get started here. I'm going to try to keep this brief, as befitting the brief life of Tropical Storm Mindy. For those of you who are just joining, I'm Dr. Ryan Truchelut of WeatherTiger, and I'm going to be walking you through the very latest on our surprise tropical storm Mindy, which has just moved inland along the western Appalachia Bay shoreline and is going to bring some impacts to Tallahassee and North Florida over the next 12 hours or so. Do want to mention before we start that if you have any questions for me, go ahead and type them in the comment box, and I will try to address pertinent questions at the end of the forecast. All right, let's get started here. So this is Mindy. Meet Mindy. Mindy developed, first advisory from the National Hurricane Center on Mindy was at 5 o'clock. So if you don't remember hearing the name Mindy until very recently, you didn't. So first advisory was at 5 o'clock, and officially Mindy made landfall on St. Vincent Island right here at about 9:15, currently located just inland over western Franklin County. So let's dig into the very latest on Mindy. Key messages from the National Hurricane Center are, number one, Mindy is expected to produce some heavy rainfall from the Florida Peninsula into southern Georgia over the next 24 hours, and that could lead to some scattered flash flooding, small stream flooding in affected areas, especially with some of the excessive rainfall that we've gotten in the past month or so from other tropical systems. And their second key point is that some tropical storm force winds are expected tonight along some portions of the Big Bend coastline where the tropical storm warning is in effect, mainly in Appalachia Bay. But there is a possibility of getting some low-end tropical storm force wind gusts inland too, kind of in the eastern Big Bend. So this is the current forecast track from the NHC. As of 7 o'clock, Mindy's sustained winds were 45 miles per hour, so just above a minimal tropical storm. Movement was a brisk northeast at 21 miles per hour as this trough over the eastern United States steers Mindy quickly north and east. Now, Mindy has since moved inland since the 8 p.m. advisory, and we'll get a new advisory from the NHC probably in about 20 minutes or so. So this is where Mindy currently is, overlaid with its 5 or 8 o'clock forecast track, and you can see the center of Mindy is right in here, and it's basically following the NHC track line in black very closely. It came in right around Apalachicola and is now moving east-northeast. We'll pass a little bit south. We'll pass between Tallahassee and St. Mark's overnight tonight, and then it will be moving east-northeast across North Florida and southern Georgia into the morning hours tomorrow. This is a current look at radar, and keep in mind, folks, this is a tropical storm with 45 mile per hour sustained winds. It's not a hurricane. It's not packing hurricane force winds, but the radar is I've seen worse looking tropical storms, we'll put it that way. It's maintained some core convection. It's been sending up convective bursts here on the northern half of the circulation, and it's got some pretty decent rain with it inland. We had a decent band go through Leon County just now, and is moving into northern Leon County with some clearing for southern Leon County, and this kind of last convective burst associated with what will constitute the core of this storm is going to be moving east-northeast and into Leon County over the next hour or so. What's going on further east? Well, not a whole lot. We're seeing some periodic showers and storms and kind of these bands passing through North Florida, and those will continue to roll through Gainesville and Jacksonville overnight, with probably an uptick in band frequency in the second half of the night. So what are we most worried about with Mindy? Obviously it's not a destructive wind machine. What we're worried about is flooding, excessive rainfall. This is the rain that has already fallen in the past 48 hours. And what you can see here is these areas in dark red and purple and blue. Those are areas where we've seen anywhere from 3 up to locally 8 inches of rainfall. And it's right in kind of Eastern Bay County and Calhoun County, Gulf County, some areas that got 6 to 10 inches of rainfall in Fred, and also got some reasonably heavy rain in Ida as well, other than any damaging winds from Ida, but got some bands from Ida. So soils are saturated in this area, and dropping 5 inches of rainfall on top of that is not good. The rest of the Big Bend, you've seen maybe an inch or two, these yellows and oranges and reds, anywhere from 1 to 3 inches so far. So all that heavy rainfall that we've been seeing over Bay County, Western Gulf County, there is a flash flood warning in effect from Tallahassee National Weather Service office for these areas highlighted here in this dark red. So if you are in a flash flood warning area, especially if you are in a low-lying area, you're going to want to continue to not venture out. Roads may be flooded. Some of the roads that were flooded in Fred have there are reports that they have been flooded again with Mindy. So stay in shelter if you're in these areas. The back edge of the precip is on the way, and by midnight you guys should be clear. There's a broader area where there's a flash flood watch in effect, where conditions are such that heavy rainfall, if you get a few inches in an hour, it could lead to localized flash flooding. And that flash flood watch earlier in the day, it did not include Leon County. Now it does. So Tallahassee under the flash flood watch as we go into the overnight hours tonight. Good idea to have a way of receiving an emergency alert, especially if you live in a low-lying area, as we're probably going to pick up another inch plus of rainfall here in the next couple hours in Leon County. So what do we have left? Not a whole lot. If you are if you're west of the river, you're probably mostly done. Maybe a little bit of back edge precip. Got about another inch ahead of us for Big Bend and north central Florida. Lighter totals over kind of central Florida, 1/2 inch to an inch through the day tomorrow. But we're looking at another 3/4 of an inch to an inch and a half. Local totals potentially higher across the Big Bend through the overnight hours tonight. What can we expect for the timing and when Mindy's rainfall is going to clear? Well, this is one model's opinion of kind of future radar. This is right about now. And going forward in time, you can see next couple hours, heavy rainfall, heaviest rain for Tallahassee as the core, such as it is of Mindy, passes over Wakulla and Leon counties. And then we're probably going to be clearing as the center moves north and east towards Valdosta, towards 3-4 in the morning. So second half of the night, probably just showery conditions for Tallahassee. Heaviest rainfall I think is going to pick up here, around the 11 o'clock midnight hours and run through maybe 2-3 in the morning for Leon County, with another inch on the way. And then what do we have during the day on Thursday? Well, by the time the sun's coming up tomorrow, you're probably getting that primary band through Ocala, Gainesville, and Jacksonville. In the pre-dawn hours, I would say between 4 and 7 in the morning would be my best guess for when the conditions are going to be worse across north central Florida. And then, Mindy's going to skedaddle on out of here, into the open waters of the Atlantic. And then I think we're just talking about showery conditions, intermittent, occasional showers for most of North Florida. Tomorrow's going to be a nice day of weather for Tallahassee, and I think eventually for Jacksonville and Gainesville too. Everything that's going to happen with Mindy is going to happen overnight tonight for Tallahassee and west certainly. So yeah, by tomorrow morning, we're basically done with the rainfall. Tomorrow by noon, I think we'll be clearing North Florida out, and we'll see some lingering showers and storms kind of over the central Florida, west central Florida, and then pushing into east central Florida in the afternoon hours tomorrow. So that's the rainfall threat. That's the primary threat from Mindy. Also, some winds associated with the kind of small but potent little core of this thing. These areas that the National Weather Service has highlighted in yellow are areas where you may see low-end tropical storm force winds of 40 miles per hour through the overnight hours, and that's certainly most likely along the immediate coast here of Appalachia Bay, and maybe some areas just a little bit inland from there. This is the area that is under a tropical storm warning as of 5 from the National Weather Service, and it's the coastal sections of Gulf, Franklin, Wakulla, Jefferson, and Taylor counties, and then there's an inland tropical storm warning for Taylor and Lafayette counties, just as where basically the kind of the main band will be going through that eastern part of the storm. So currently, the winds are, we've been seeing some pretty decent gusts here in the last couple hours in the St. George, East Point area. Right now, center of circulation is right about here. St. George Island Bridge is, seeing sustained winds right around 40 miles an hour, tropical storm force. We're also seeing Ochlockonee Bay, winds 30 plus miles per hour. Not seeing any wind in Tallahassee right now, and I don't think you're going to see much in the way of significant wind at any point during the storm. Maybe some occasional gusts to 30 over the next few hours as that band comes through. But it's been a windy night down on the Forgotten Coast. Wind gusts of upper 50s on the St. George Bridge, 50s all along kind of the Franklin County coast, and some 40s here along coastal Wakulla County. So, not nothing. Not the worst that we've ever seen, but I've also seen a 61 mile per hour gust here at an offshore Air Force tower that's right around down there. So that's the highest gust so far. And this is the National Weather Service's look at some areas that, these are the top possible wind gusts. You can see National Weather Service is calling for, top wind gusts in the 20s in Tallahassee, so not an inland wind event for Tallahassee overnight. You don't have to worry about damaging winds. But there is some potential for low-end tropical storm force wind gusts kind of in this corridor from Perry to Jacksonville. I don't know that we will see 40-plus mile per hour gusts, but they are a possibility there. Final threat that I want to mention is the possibility of tornadoes, always something to watch for with a landfalling tropical system. We did see a tornado warning for Wakulla County earlier in the evening. That has since expired. Let me just check to see if there's any active tornado warnings. There are not, have not been any issued since I started this forecast. So anyway, that's basically it for Mindy. It's a low-end tropical storm, but it's packing a punch. Tallahassee, I would say you can expect as this kind of core convective activity pushes through in the next couple hours, that will be the worst of it. And then the back edge, it's very dry, and I wouldn't expect anything in the way of impacts. But you could certainly see another inch plus in Leon County, in Wakulla County, Liberty, Gadsden, Jefferson, Madison counties as this moves through, with continued tropical storm force wind gusts for coastal Wakulla, coastal Taylor counties through the night tonight. And I think that's what we're looking at. One last thing I want to mention. This is what's called water vapor imagery, and it's a way of looking at how much moisture is in the kind of the mid-atmosphere. And you can see all these yellows up here in the Midwest. That's some very dry air aloft, and that is pushing south, and that is going to be in North Florida by Friday. So not only will tomorrow be clearing out, but Friday dew points are going to drop into the 60s, and it's going to be kind of nice, believe it or not. So we have that to look forward to after we get Mindy off our plate tonight. So let's see, questions coming to Thomasville. Thomasville is certainly going to see some some rainfall from this. You already are, of course. You're not going to see any wind. Probably about another inch of rainfall in Thomasville, but that's about it. And you'll be clearing out overnight like everybody else in the Big Bend. All right, I'm going to wrap it up there. Stay safe, North Florida. This is Dr. Ryan Truchelut of WeatherTiger. Keep watching the skies.